Hey folks, this is Kelani. With Mythic Plus keys finally available, we can start pushing our way through more difficult encounters to truly figure out which dungeon is the new Maw of Souls. Will it be Addons with its many varied pathways which ultimately end up allowing you to skip plenty of trash, or will it be Siege of Borealis where you kind of fight a Hellier 2.0 in the water? And it's also probably one of the faster dungeons thanks to the lack of elite trash mobs. Those two and Freehold definitely seem to be some of the fastest Mythic Plus dungeons from what I've seen on Raider.io, but I've been having a blast with pretty much every dungeon so far. Hopefully that doesn't change as time goes by, but one thing that definitely makes Mythic Plus dungeons more interesting, and makes keeping track of everything you need a little easier, is the various add-ons available which can really improve the experience as a whole. So let's have a look at some of my must-have add-ons for Mythic Plus dungeons. The first add-on I would recommend to all of you wonderful people is Angry Keystones. This add-on does a whole lot of great stuff, including upgrading the default Mythic Plus UI. It's not that it's terrible to begin with, it's just not all that fantastic either. Angry Keystones will give you a separate timer to reach the +3 mark, and after that fails the +2 mark, so you know exactly how much time you have before you miss the different goals. It also gives you a few lines on the larger timer to indicate when the +3 and plus timers will expire. It's the nice little details like that which keep me using the add-on, but it also has a few other cool tidbits. If you hover over your death tally, Angry Keystones will show you exactly who died and how many times, just so you can point your fingers in the right direction when playing the blame game. Your required enemy forces bar is also displayed with decimal points, because most monsters don't give whole numbers towards that progress, which honestly should be in the default UI because that's just silly. If a mob gives 0.3%, how do you even know that if the default display can't actually show it? Seems a bit silly to me, but never fear, Angry Keystones is here to save the day. The add-on can also skip over and auto-complete several gossip sequences, which require you to talk to NPCs. I don't think that's as big of a deal as it was during Legion, but we might be able to make good use of it in future dungeons in BFA. It's a nice clean add-on which provides you with some extra bits of useful information whenever you're doing any Mythic Plus keys. And then we have Astral keys, which might sound like it's going to do the exact same thing, but Astral keys does something very different. While Angry Keystones changes and improves upon the Mythic Plus UI, Astral keys is more about keystone management. Opening up Astral keys will show you the week's current affixes, all of your characters who have a keystone and which keystone they have, but also track information for guild members and people on your friends list as well who have Astral keys installed. So if you're really looking for a +5 at Addons, you can check your guild or friends list to see if anyone has one available and then message them to beg them for a spot. It also tracks other players' alts and their keys too. If you're in a party trying to decide what key to run, the add-on will also show you what key each player has if you hover over their nameplates. That takes the guesswork out of the equation and saves you hunting for your keys in your bag to link in party chat. Easy peasy. The add-on will also announce in party chat what your key turned into at the end of a run, providing of course that it was your key being used. This add-on becomes more useful if people are using it, especially within your circle of friends or guildies who like to run Mythic Plus dungeons together. This next add-on will give you a helping hand through any dungeon you're running, Mythic Plus or not, but it's still very useful when it comes to Mythic Plus. Wouldn't it be amazing if you didn't have to guess when the bosses were going to do certain abilities? What if you could have a little bar or timer on screen to show you exactly when you needed to move or swap to newly spawned adds? Well, I've got good news, and honestly I would be more surprised if you didn't already know about these kinds of add-ons, but I personally love BIGWIGS and LITTLEWIGS. BIGWIGS is the raid add-on, but you need to have it installed to use LITTLEWIGS, which is the dungeon add-on. LITTLEWIGS will provide you with timers for every boss mechanic so you can be proactive instead of reactive. If you're ready and waiting for an ability to happen, chances are you're going to be able to avoid it or deal with it significantly faster and easier simply because you're ready for it. You don't have to rely on pure reaction times to reposition or dodge, which is just going to increase your performance no matter what class or role you're playing. Taking the guesswork out of every dungeon encounter gives you the power to take down any boss with enough practice. And then we have one of the big players in the add-on world, and I don't really want to delve too deep into this one because WEAKAURAS can be used for all sorts of things, from rotation to cooldown management to spamming your screen with a huge do not res message to try and make use of wipe protection. But WEAKAURAS is just so powerful that I couldn't help but mention it here, mainly because I want to share a few WEAKAURAS which can be really useful to help you up your game. So throughout Mythic Plus dungeons you may have noticed that interrupts and spellcasts are a pretty huge deal in Battle for Azeroth. This first WEAKAURA allows you to track track the cooldown of your group's interrupts, so if you absolutely desperately need an interrupt on the cast that's going off right now, you can look and see if anyone has an interrupt available. If they do, give them a shout out, interrupt that cast. Hopefully they're listening and manage to get to the cast in time, but if they don't and the interrupt is still available, well, you know who just messed up. It's also pretty hilarious to watch every interrupt go on cooldown at the same time when everybody's trying to get the exact same spell cast. It's really useful for a variety of reasons, even if you're not being super serious about your dungeon runs. Another weak aura in the same set allows you to track crowd control abilities, which can also be incredibly useful when you need to make use of AoE stuns or dispels, and then the last one gives you a list of all the external cooldowns which are available and shows their current CD, which should be invaluable as a healer or a tank. They're a little set which rely on a fourth weak aura to actually work, so you just need to get the main weak aura, which I'll link down below, and then also pick up whichever ones you want of the other three. Weak auras can be really intimidating, but to just use pre-made weak auras is really easy. Open up the wago.io links in the comments section below, hit copy weak aura string, go in game, type /WA to bring up the weak aura menu, go to new, scroll down to the bottom and click import, paste the text into the box, hit import on the little pop-up window and you're done. All that's left is to move it where you want and go have some fun with your fancy new weak auras. Sadly, I think these ones only work if other players have them as well, but if you're in a guild group or group of friends, just give them the link to the weak auras so you can all laugh at each other when you miss the important interrupts. But if you don't have a group that's ready to bash down every key you all manage to get your hands on, you might be left to pugging. But don't worry, I've got a few add-ons for you as well. The first is Pre-Made Groups Filter, which allows you to search through all of the active groups with a few filters of your own design. Only want groups that need a tank? Well, you can search for groups with 1 healer and 3 DPS to see where you can hop in quickly. Playing with just a DPS and healer, like I usually am, you can search for groups that don't have any healer and have a maximum of 2 DPS. That shows you groups who need a healer but also still have a DPS slot open. It's an amazing add-on which cuts down the time it takes to search for groups that you're actually interested in, and you can use it for both dungeon groups and raid groups if you end up pugging the new raid bosses as well. You can also play around with the advanced search at the bottom to search through title and descriptions to either include or omit certain words, so if you wanted to, you could always filter out all those pesky groups trying to sell Mythic Plus keys or raids. If you're stuck pugging, Pre-Made Groups Filter is an add-on I would highly recommend. The other useful add-on for pugging Mythic Plus is the Raider.io add-on, and before you start lighting those torches, hear me out. You don't have much to go on when recruiting for your Mythic Plus keys. Players are signing up left, right and centre, and all the information you get about these chaps you're about to head out on an adventure with is their maximum unequipped item level and their server. That's not a lot of info to go on. Someone could have an amazing item level but be AFK for half the dungeon, whereas someone could be playing an alt with a pretty average item level but be an amazing player overall. The Raider.io add-on gives you a little bit more information based on the dungeons those players have already completed. If someone is rocking item level 360 but hasn't done a single Mythic Plus dungeon, they might not be as good a pickup as they initially seemed. But on the other hand, that 340 rogue who has already done every dungeon several times over probably knows what to dodge and how to survive, which might just be the difference between completing your key in time and not. I know a lot of players hate the idea of these types of add-ons, it's gear score all over again and yada yada, but honestly when you're stuck to pugging you need every inch of help you can get to ensure your key goes as smoothly as possible and ultimately ends in a victory. If Raider.io helps you put together the best group possible for whatever situation you're in, I would recommend it time and time again. It does have a few issues, but I think it's the best we have for right now. And then possibly the most amazing add-on for players who really want to take their Mythic Plus dungeon seriously is Method Dungeon Tools. I don't even know where to begin with this add-on, and honestly I probably don't know half of what it can do, but to try and put it simply, Method Dungeon Tools allows you to fully plot and plan out your entire dungeon run, including showing you how much percentage each monster gives, which monsters pull together in packs, where you can find stealth creatures and patrolling monsters, and also allows you to set up pulls as you progress through the dungeon. If you click on a group of monsters, the add-on will take that as we're going to kill this pack and track your total percentage through the run. So as long as the add-on stays true and up to date, you can set up a perfect run through every single Battle for Azeroth dungeon, ensuring you meet the 100% enemy forces requirement every single time. Gone are the days of guessing how much percent each monster gives, and whether pulling these crabs or those seagulls are worth more. You shouldn't ever kill the last boss and have to run back to get a few extra percent because you skipped over too many monsters. You can create different layouts for different affixes and even share your maps with anyone else who is using the add-on. Sharing your setup will paste a link in party chat for everyone to click, which just couldn't be easier. You can play around with the groups and pools that you'd want to do before your group gets together and then share your hard work to see what everyone else thinks. You can also export your maps for others to use, and you can also import some perfect dungeon routes from some of the smarter chaps out there to really nail down your strategy for each dungeon to save you a lot of time in the long run. This one is definitely for the serious players, but I've been having so much fun with it that I couldn't help but share it. And these are my must-have add-ons for Mythic Plus dungeons in Battle for Azeroth. Are you using any of the add-ons listed? Are there any add-ons you think deserve to be on this list that I missed? Leave all your thoughts in the comments section below. A big thank you to all of our supporters over on Patreon. You can see their names floating by on screen. If you want to join these lovely guys and gals, you can find a link in the description below. Remember to leave a like just below the video before you leave, and if you want to see more, make sure to subscribe. But apart from that, thanks for watching folks, good luck and have fun, and as always I will see you next time.